everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Connor Bromley and today I am talking about Sunderland's draw with Manchester City and looking at some of the main talking points and sort of notes that I have from the matchup. Me and Taff did a review last night, so if you want to check out a longer, like hour-long video talking about the game, then look at that. And also, if you enjoy the video, please also leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So, some of the things we learned from the game, and the first thing that really stuck out to me at the end of the match was that Dennis Cirkin deserves a new contract. He's out of contract at the end of the season. Of course, he's nursed through an injury, and I think the thing that sort of goes against Dennis Cirkin is the fact that his injury record has been patchy since he's played for Sunderland, since he signed here, and that is the knock on him. But we saw against Man City, to a lesser degree against Leeds, but I still think he did okay against Leeds. We saw against Man City what, a good player he is, and he's somebody that is definitely more than capable of playing regular minutes in the Premier League. And because of that, and because of his age, it makes no sense for us to let his contract run down. I mean, you're potentially looking at a 15 to 20 million pound asset walking out the door for free at the end of the season. I think it needs to be a priority for Sunderland to get Dennis Cirkin tied up to a new deal. The other thing for Cirkin is that Ronaldo's 31. How many years, has Ronaldo got the rest of this season and next season being at the top of his level, then he'll start maybe regressing a little bit. So Cirkin's got a chance here to really make that left back spot his own over the next 18 months or so. And that has to be the challenge to him. Is he going to start for another Premier League club? Probably not. But I definitely think there is a strong case that he's going to be good enough to be a starting Premier League left back going forward. And certainly against Man City, he was brilliant. I thought he had a really, really good game. That was his second game back. So, even the Leeds game, you're going to see he wasn't great against Leeds. I actually thought he did all right. But it was his first game back, his first game of the season. He's played 90 minutes back to back. I've got no doubt that he'll probably keep his spot against Tottenham at the weekend. And yeah, I think he deserves a lot of credit. And I just hope that the club can get his contract situation sorted. He's a player that's been with us in the whole journey. So it would be nice to see him stay at Sunderland. Dan Neil, the other one, of course, who's out of contract. I don't think that's likely to happen. We haven't given him the minutes, and it just feels like that is going to end at the end of the season. But Dennis Cirkin, I think, should be sticking around. The other thing of note is that the Stadium of Light is just a nightmare for opposition teams. It's getting a lot of notoriety. I saw Miguel Richards after the game talk about how it was, it's the best atmosphere in the Premier League and the fans are making all the difference and all them sort of platitudes you hear. But I do think in a lot of ways it's true that the Stadium of Light is a problem for opposition teams. Man City left yesterday and I don't think they would have been devastated that they didn't win the game. I think they probably are like, right, okay, we go there, we get a point. Arsenal got a point there, Villa got a point there. It's it's not a bad point at the end of the day for Man City, and that's a real positive for us. I think we are like the only newly promoted Premier League team since the Premier League started to be undefeated going to New Year. I think I saw a stat where maybe Ipswich in the first year of the Premier League did it, where they went undefeated after promotion. But in the last 30 years, no teams come up and been undefeated into the new year, and we have started the year undefeated as well. We haven't lost, of course. So I think we've got to take a lot of credit from that. We've got 2 points per game at home, 5 wins, 5 draws. We've played the top 3 at home as well. So you can look at those 5 draws and think, well, we need to start winning more. Well, maybe you don't think that, but, some people might. But we've played the top 3 at home. We've played Newcastle, of course, who are in the Champions League this season and expect to be there or thereabouts. And we've beaten them. A lot of people are talking about Bournemouth being a contender. We've beaten them. So we've played some difficult home games and we've ridden it and we've got through it and we've got 20 points, 2 points per game. And yeah, can we be the, one of the only sides to go a full season undefeated at home? It's very rare that it happens. Nobody did it last season. Can we do that? I don't know. But after playing the top 3, we won't play harder games at home this season. So who knows? Can we do the whole season? Let me know in the comments if you think that is possible. Not that I'm putting any pressure on. Look, we've had an amazing season. But yeah, I think it would be interesting to see if we can do that. I think last year we came unstuck. Can't remember who took it. And we did have an undefeated home record going into maybe March, and then it went away. But yeah, can we do the whole season? It'll be interesting to see. The other thing I want to talk about is Alderete and Mukiele. And look, you could kind of make this about the whole back four, but those two in particular, for the money that we've paid for them, and everyone always does this when they talk about Alderete and Mukiele, me included, it's very difficult to talk about them and not talk about the transfer fees because we got them for such a ludicrously cheap price that it's very difficult not to just look at that and go, wow, we got these for less than 20 million combined. But those two players look as good as any Premier League centre back. And look, I know we've got Ballard potentially coming back in. How on earth do we reshuffle that? I'm not 100% sure. But those two are monsters in the Premier League. They kept Erling Haaland so quiet. I don't think Erling Haaland will have had a harder game this season. So massive pat on the back to them. And I know people worry about us losing players, which is fair enough. You know, we've had such a good season, but God, I look at Mukiele and Alderete, and there's got to be teams, top teams in world football that are looking at those two thinking, right, we could do with a bit of that. Okay, Mukiele can play centre back, can play right back, and he's unbelievable at both. Alderete just oozes quality. His touches are brilliant. He's just got everything you want from a centre back. The calmness, and the two of them are just massive assets to Sunderland. I don't think I could have dreamt that we could have signed two players of that quality for less than £20 million. And wow, yeah, just hats off to the recruitment team. The other thing I want to talk about is the creativity. There's a lot of worry about chance creation, a lot of worry about strikers, and people thinking, you know, maybe our strikers aren't good enough for the level. I don't buy into that per se. I think that I'm happy that they're getting chances. Brobby had one yesterday, which I think he probably, in hindsight, wishes he could have back. I don't think he realised how much time he had, but he built the chance himself by using his strength against Ruben Diaz. He gets him one-on-one, and he's against Donnarumma. Donnarumma makes a decent save from it. But I think my concern was that we weren't creating much prior to the last, well, basically the last month. We've not been creating much since really we beat Bournemouth 3-2. But I think that's beginning to turn a little bit. We are creating more chances. I still think that the key to it isn't necessarily a centre forward. It's maybe a player on the wings or maybe in the 10. I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely think that's the answer to the problem. I will say that Isidore has maybe got a bit of confidence issues going on. He doesn't look like the same player we had a couple of months ago. But Brobby, I think, is such a threat for us and such a nuisance for defences. And if we can get Mayenda into the team, I think we can see when he played against Man City that Mayenda has so much going forward and so much positivity with him. His dribbling's excellent. There's definitely a top-level player in there. So, yeah, we are creating more. We still don't create a ton, but that's kind of the nature of the beast. I mean, we kept 3 clean sheets in the last 4. So we're a team that is better at keeping the ball out of our own net than we are putting it in the opposition's net. But that will get you points. Clean sheets are so important in the Premier League. And if you say Bournemouth, look at Bournemouth right now. They can't keep a clean sheet and score goals, but they can't keep a clean sheet. They can't pick up points because of that, and they're shaky. Whereas us, we look really steady throughout the games. And yeah, we don't create a ton of chances, but it's about being clinical, and we do get them in. At the minute, we aren't being massively clinical, but earlier in the season, we were. But right now, the creativity, it does look like it's slowly getting better, and I thought we created more against Man City, probably the most we've created in about 4 or 5 games. Let's also look ahead. We've got Spurs and Brentford away, which represents an opportunity to get past the 30-point mark, which I think we all would have took getting past that in January. I think both games are interesting challenges. Tottenham are woeful at home. I think they've only won 2 home games this season. Brentford are brilliant at home. They've actually picked up 1 more point at home than Sunderland this season. So we talk about Sunderland's home record. Brentford, in terms of points, are doing better than us. They have lost a game. They lost against Man City. But both games are going to be very, very difficult. Tottenham play this turgid style of play. I mean, they are defensive, negative, boring to watch. You know, and I think we'll probably go there and be quite defensive. And you know, I think that game's, to me, it doesn't strike me as a game that's going to have a lot of chances and a lot of goals. But I think the feeling at Tottenham right now is quite negative. If we can keep them at 0 for a lot of the game, maybe nick a goal, I think it's going to be very hard for them to get back into it. And yeah, I think we can go to Tottenham. With the 2 games, Tottenham's the one that I think we've got a better chance in, which is pretty wild to say, considering the Champions League. But yeah, they just don't look that good right now at home in the Premier League. Brentford, really, really difficult game going there. And I watched them play against Leeds recently there. They weren't great, but then they beat Bournemouth 4-1 there. But Bournemouth are defensively so bad. And look, both these games we'll go there, we'll compact, we'll be defensive. Obviously, I don't know what the team selection will be, whether or not Ballard will be back in, whether or not we've got any injuries to contend with. But I think we can definitely win one of them games. And if we can get 3 points from the 2, that's fantastic. Puts us on to 32 points and sets us up, going into that FA Cup game against Everton. That's an interesting one to talk about as well. But after that, we've got Palace at home. I think West Ham away, Burnley at home. So we've got a little run there where I think we can pick up a few points as well. And maybe if we are being very ambitious, we can get over the 40-point mark by the time we get into early February, which would be pretty amazing. How important is the Everton Cup game? Let me know what you think about that one. I think that because we look pretty secure in our Premier League status, I think the FA Cup should be a target for us. I'm a bit annoyed that it falls after in a 3-game week where we've got a midweek. We've played obviously so much through the Christmas period. We're going to go to Everton and we're going to be tired. We're going to be probably quite leggy. And it's going to be a really hard game for us. I don't want to see a ton of rotation because we do have a clear week the next week, but also I think the FA Cup, it has to be a bit of a target for us. I'm not saying we're going to win the FA Cup, but if we are going to finish, 10th in the Premier League, the FA Cup represents a chance for us to have an extra special season. And, we've seen enough from us in the Premier League to suggest that we aren't going to go down. I mean, we're on 29 points now. We're 15 points clear of relegation. It's so unlikely that we're going to get relegated that maybe the FA Cup is our best chance to do something quite special this season. So I hope we do go for it, but I do understand because it's on a 3-game week, it's an away game. It's going to be very difficult for us to go there and get a win. I think it's going to be hard for us to do that. And Everton, they'll probably think the same way. We're pretty much level in the league. I think they're 2 points behind us. So, they are going to probably be thinking the same way. The FA Cup's a good chance for them to have a bit of joy this season. Thanks everyone for watching the video. Check out me and Taft's video from last night where we reviewed the game. That was about an hour long. Worth checking out. This week, I'm going on holiday on Monday. I am still going to make videos when I'm away just because I like making Sunderland content. But obviously there won't be the usual stuff with all ending. But I will be doing like a post-match review of Spurs on Sunday night. So that'll still come out. Then in the week, we'll do a review of the Brentford game. I don't know if that'll be on the Wednesday or the Thursday, but yeah, we'll do a review of that one. And then the Everton game might be maybe Monday or Tuesday before we get something out there. But yeah, there'll be stuff coming up on the channel. Maybe not as busy as normal, but there will be plenty of content to look out for. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a happy new year. And yeah, hopefully 2026 is a great year for you and also a great year for Sunderland AFC.